Folks, we're back. This is Steve Sampson, Stephanie Phillips with another episode of Veterans in Politics. Our next guest is B. Taylor, Navy veteran, hip-hop producer, global ambassador. But before we get to Mr. Taylor.
Well, I'm going to introduce B here because he is so involved in so many things. It has to be read because he just has done so much as well. B. Taylor is an internationally acclaimed, multi-award-winning artist, producer, songwriter, decorated Navy veteran. Thank you for your service, B.
Thank you.
Best-selling author, speaker, philanthropist, who is a Goodwill Global Ambassador of Entertainment for the U.S. military, veterans, first responders, and their families. B. Taylor is the first hip-hop urban talent to be discovered by Motown legends of Smokey and the Miracles, and has 5 #1 hit records on the Billboard and iTunes charts. We have a lot to get to tonight because B is moving and shaking all over the country. He's doing all kinds of things. But before we start on that, I just wanted to remind everybody again, we are having a book signing event on...
Could I stop you right there?
Yes. So we have a lot to talk about with B. He's doing so much. But I just want to remind everybody about the book signing event that is on February 22nd at 3:30 to 5 at the West Las Vegas Library. That's at 951 West Lake Mead. You can get your copy of Steve's new book, How to Navigate Nevada's Family Court System, on Amazon. It's $14.99. Or you can pick up a copy at the event. So we'll have that there, and jump on the Facebook page. We have an event page for that. And we look forward to seeing you there. Are we live still? Or did we bug out?
No, we're good.
We're good? Okay.
Internet.
Please.
Okay. First on the list. What do you want to talk about first, B? Because you're doing so much stuff across the country.
Oh man, whatever works for you.
Let me go to the first thing, because we've been talking a lot.
Yeah.
So talk about your military background and your sports background and kind of how you got where you are today. Start in those early years.
So, yeah, man. Grew up in Illinois, Peoria, Illinois. My dad worked for Caterpillar. Was the headquarters in Peoria, and played, went to school. He, taught us that education was first, and was a student athlete in Central Illinois. Ended up going to the University of Missouri on an engineering and academic scholarship, and then playing football and basketball. And then I decided to transfer. And went to transfer. My transfer didn't go through the NAACP, NAA clearinghouse. And I met some recruiters that said I can join the military and still play sports and get my education. So I joined that. Thought I signed up for ROTC, but then it didn't pan out like that. So I was like, man. So I ended up tested into the Naval Nuclear Engineering program. So I tested into the nuke. And so then I found out, like, they were talking to me how many years the nuke was. So I was like, okay, I got my degree. I'm going for engineering. What else is the second best? Because it was so many years. And they were like, well, aviation, electronics technician. So I took that. Didn't
How
get
old
out.
were you then?
Oh man, was it 21, 20? So then 2021. So then my dad was like, he was like, I said, I didn't get ROTC. He said, just be quiet and, keep going, and just it'll pan out. So I got in boot camp, was over my division for boot camp. And then by week 6, that's when what we call a Navy boot camp, they're called RDC, Recruit Division Commanders, RDCs. So RDC and the chief at the time called me in. They were like, hey man, we found out you were, former athlete playing football at the University of Missouri in basketball. The commanding officer wants to talk to you. So I talked to the commanding officer at Great Lakes, and he was like, they're going to do something with you when you're getting ready to go to your schooling, but the Pentagon, we didn't got information that's going up the chain. So we finished top in boot camp, went to school in Pensacola, with the Marine Corps at NATTC for my
Did
school.
you play professional?
Yeah, so I went. So what happened is when I was going Navy, you know, I was top of my class for my schooling. So then the commanding officer and Commander Jay, I never forget, he said, "You're going to tour the SECNAV and the CNO, the Chief of Naval Operations." So I was like, "Are you kidding me?" You know, like they're like, "No, they're coming here. They're going to tour the school, and you are the one taking them on tour." So I was nervous, and because I'd never seen like Secret Service, you know, when you don't see it from TV, but when Secretary of Navy's and CNO, they have aides and Secret Service is pulling up. It's like a different atmosphere when you're that young, you know. And took them on a tour. Then they said we're going to play a command basketball game. And Secretary Danzig at the time, he was I was guarding him, and so game point, he was an avid basketball player. So I blocked his shot. And so you could hear the command on game point because I was an athlete and I was like, he's not going to win. I don't care that he was a SECNAV. In my head, I'm like, he's on the court, but everyone was like, ooh. And then I just remember the petty officer saying, "Are you freaking crazy, Taylor? Blocking the Secretary of the Navy shot?" And the Secretary of the Navy stopped him. He said, "No, that's what he's supposed to do." So he was like, "You're going to have lunch with me." So I had lunch. He said, that's when it came up about, so he said, "Do you want to go to the Naval Academy and finish out and play football and basketball?" And I was like, I looked into that. It's so many years, and you know. And he was like, "I understand, but where do you want to go? If you go away for war and we pull you back, you got a critical waiting. You're gonna be attached to the Stennis. If you go, you're gonna come back early. I'll nominate you to play on Navy basketball team, and then if you be good enough, you play on the Team USA military team. But where do you want to be stationed? You know, for your permanent duty, because 3 places has football. I'll allow you to try out." He said, "You can go Jacksonville, because they had the Jaguars. You can go to Illinois, Chicago, where you're from, with the Bears, or you can go to San Diego." And I was like, "I'm not going to Jacksonville. I don't know I didn't like training down there." And then I was like, "I'm from Illinois. It's cold. I'm a Bears fan, but I don't want to go back home." So I'm like, "Man, I'm going to California." So, you know, I go do everything, play the basketball. We play on the Team USA, and that was a great time. They pulled me from the Stennis, didn't attach me, pulled me back early, put me on TAD specialty orders. I remember driving cross country, checking in to San Diego or North Island. I had a different chain of command because, you know, I came in with letters from the Secretary of the Navy and CNO. And as an E2, E3, you're not, if anybody's in the military, you're at the bottom of the tunnel. You're not getting, so I had a different command. So I check in to Warren, and Warren was like, "Look, you're going to be reporting to me and the Force Master Chief and the Admiral. Like, this is who you report. And we got these letters from the SECNAV. You better not get any. I'm going to be hard on you because I've never had nobody come in here. I've been 30 years." And so I was like, okay. So he said, "Don't get in no trouble. Be here Monday." This was Friday. So my buddy, Justin, we go up to LA. I've never been to Hollywood like this. We're in Navy suits. It's piano out there. So I started playing because I grew up playing instruments and everyone's looking. So this guy comes. He has like huge hair, a big fro. He's like, "Hey man, that's my mom's favorite song. My brother's an icon and my brother's friends are famous and they're all back here." I'm like, "What?" He's like, "Yeah, man, you can meet my brother. That's her song." So I go with him. I'm thinking in my head, like, cause you know, Hollywood is dirty and you got like people looking crazy. So we're in Navy. So we're like, dude, this dude about to take us somewhere. So I went with him. I said, "What's your name?" He said, "My name is Bing." He said, "Come on, man." So we went with him. It was Snoop Mom, Snoop, Nate Dogg,
my goodness.
Exhibit, all of the like West Coast I grew up. I'm like, man. And she's like, "Hey, this is my mom. This is my mom's favorite song." And I met Snoop and all. They said, "Would you play this at my brother's birthday?" And I was like, "Man, I'm in the Navy. You know, I don't know, like I just got in there for TAD to play football, to try out for NFL. And it was like, "Don't worry, we're going to call." And so I get there Monday, man, I check in. I had these pictures, and before I could show to Warren, Warren's like, "Are you kidding me, Taylor? You ain't even been here 48 hours, and I got Snoop's family calling me for you to play at this wedding and his birthday." And I'm like, "Yeah, sir." He's like, "You checked in with a letter from the Secretary of the Navy. Now you got Snoop." Like, I'm like, "Sir, here." So he was like, "Look, I'm going to let you. You better not smoke no weed. You better not be, you know." And so I got with Bing. They put me in the studio. I've never been in the studio. Next thing you know, man, I'm playing Ribbon in the Sky at her birthday. Then I'm getting ready. I play at her wedding,
Oh
you know,
my
and
gosh.
everyone's there at the
Wow.
wedding. And that's how it all began. And, you know, I started befriending and Snoop and D12 and Eminem, the camp. And I was, you know, getting ready to go to football. Junior Seau, rest in peace, him and Brad DeLuiso, who was a former kicker of the Giants, helped me get an agent and wrote to the Spanos family for me to do football. And the Chargers brought players. They came on the base. And I was getting ready for that. And I come to Vegas. My parents had moved here to Vegas. I come to Vegas with my dad, and I was getting a condo here to go back and forth because I didn't know what I was going to do. I'm trying to still figure out, okay, football, music. And so I get a condo, and this is so crazy, but I moved into the condo. I was there one day, and I was moving some stuff in. And then the next day I come down, and it was Painted Desert.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that sounds familiar. Ann Road, Painted Desert. I wasn't there for like a whole day. I come down, you know, everyone in there is 50, 60-something years old. So everyone was looking like, how the hell you get in here? You know, I'm 20-something getting in here. And they were looking at me like crazy, but the agent had got me in there, right? And so the neighbor was like, who's playing that piano up there? And I was like, oh, that's me. You know, I'm just going to be going back and forth from, you know, in the military, trying out football and everything. He's like, man, that music helps my wife, but there's this famous, because she has cancer, and he yelled in his wife, he said, honey, there's a Motown icon that lives in here. What's his name? And she goes, I don't know. I just see his wife at the mailbox. And he goes, yeah, he's a Motown legend. He started Motown. He's one of them. He said, what's his name? He said, oh, his name is Pete Moore. Soon as he said the name, a Mercedes came, and my neighbor said, there he is. That's Pete Moore. So he ran him down. We go up to the thing. And I'm like, man, he rolls down his window. He had like a cigar. He's like, can I help you, kid? And I said, I know, you know, I heard you were Smokey and the Miracles. You started Motown. You know, I do a little music, but I'm in the Navy, going to football. He's like, you got some music on you? I said, yeah, just a little bit. You know, I've done some stuff working with Snoop's family and different people. He said, get it all together. My secretary gonna let you through the house. Come down. I want to see you in 30 minutes. I get on running in the house. I'm getting all this stuff together. I go down to the house. I walk in this room. They let me in. He sits me in this room on the couch, and he has this huge room, and it has every award and every picture. So you're talking about like Sinatra, Muhammad Ali, Michael Jackson, all of the Rolling Stones' greatest hits.
Wow.
He sits down, puts the music in, plays the first song, 30 seconds. I'm like, oh man. He went to the second one, 30 seconds.
You're thinking he didn't like it.
I said, Mr. Moore, you know, I got more. He said, I don't have to hear anything else. He said, who did the music? I said, I did. He said, who wrote the songs? I said, I did. He said, you play instruments? I said, yeah. He said, you got anything at your house? He said, come on, let's get in the car. We go up to the thing. I had a keyboard and stuff set up, and I started playing the songs. And he heard me just play for like 15 minutes. He said, play this. And I'm playing, and the music. He said, get on the phone. He said, kid, we're going to sign you. He's like, you my swan song. You what we was looking for, to pass the legacy. At Motown, I'm like, are you kidding me?
Wow.
And he called. So I get on the phone. I call Sam at the time, who was just coming in management. And it was from Mr. Moore's number. So it was this number. Sam's like, whose number is this? He answered the phone. I'm like, hey, man, I know this is crazy. I'm here with Mr. Pete Moore, Smokey and the Miracles, and they want to sign me. He's like, get the F, get out of here. Mr. Moore goes, Sam, it's me, Pete Moore, Smokey and the Miracles. Get the contracts together at the holiday. We want to sign B, so we need you to get stuff. And he's like, well, he's military, and he was comfortable. Get the paperwork ready. I said, okay. So he said, okay, anybody? He said, call your parents, call your dad. So at the time I called Dad. My dad's a minister, so I'm like, hey, Dad. He's like, what number you come from? I said, Dad, I know I ain't been here long, but I'm with Mr. Pete Moore, Smokey and the Miracles. Son, don't be playing with me. God, I don't play that. Boy, I come and get you with this Bible, with that. Dad, and I'm like, Mr. Moore said, no, Rev, this is Pete Moore. Tell your wife to get together. This is what our swan song. We never touched urban. We want to pass him the legacy. So we telling him, and he let the military know. Next thing you know, I get Mr. Moore built. I'm in the studio. My first studio session is Mr. Moore, Cuba Gooding of the main ingredient, Mr. Gooding, Bobby Rogers of the Miracles, Aretha Franklin they had on the Skype thing, and B.B. King and Joe Jackson.
Oh,
And I'm in the studio, my first session with all these legends. And I knew where I was at, but I really didn't. So I had to tell this story. I go in, I was doing this verse, and Mr. Moore kept saying again. And I felt like corny when I was recording this because I made the music. I'm like, this is corny. And so I get up and the engineer's back there. So I walk out. I get doing it. I'm like, I'm frustrated. And then Tiger, he comes out. He's like, man, do you know where you at, man? He's like, man, you got icons in here. I'm like, man, they got me doing this part. It's corny, man. He's like, no, dude, you got to just follow and get in here. So I go in there. I sit down, Steph and Steve, and I'm sitting there. They're sitting there. And Mr. Moore goes, Joe, y'all got anything to say? Nobody said nothing. Joe was like, no, tell that little brown man. Tell him something, Pete. Tell him what we said, right? So Mr. Moore said, how many hits you got? I said, 9. Are you in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? I said, no. Did you discover Michael Jackson and Stevie Wonder? I said, no. Are you in the Library of Congress? Did your music bring races together? I said, no. We don't want to hear SHIT you got to say ever again, or we walking out, and we'll never do that. You got more talent, and when this talent and your military backing comes together, you're going to be great. But if you don't want to listen, get out right now. You'll never talk to us or see us again. I said, I understand. Then he looked up, he said, Aretha, you got something to say? She said, yeah, Pete, tell him to take that skullduggery out his mouth. And I was like, skullduggery? And they all looked at me, yeah, SHIT. That was the last time.
So that was the end of football.
That was the end of football, and my music career started, and that's when the Motown legends started mentoring me.
And you were 26 then?
Yep.
So from there, then what?
Man, I started I was doing music, and we went to go sign the Motown to the different labels, and we're going in there. What was frustrated is I came in with all this packet of music. I came with Motown legends, but I had letters from the Pentagon, education and my joint service records and stuff. And it was all put together. And, you're talking to these A&Rs and you're here with these icons. They didn't know what to do. One A&R executive, I'll never forget, we were in New York, and he's like, what do y'all want us to do? This guy's got a Lifetime Achievement Award before he's 60 years old. Like, what do you want us to do? And the legends, they were frustrated. And so we walked up there, we went to Universal. And in Universal, they were like and I was like, man, this dude got time, but how are we gonna market this? He needs to go this. It's not gonna work trying to be the face with the military and veterans. It's corny, it's not gonna work. So I was like, look, man, I'm gonna stay this way. I'm not changing. The military allowed me to be here, so I'll take my chances with my brothers and sisters that served, and I'm not changing. So if you don't wanna sign me, you're going to see me again, don't sign me, but I'm not changing the mode. I'm not doing publicity stunts. I'm not doing crazy stuff just to get attention. This is who let me come here to pursue, get my education, pursue the NFL, pursue music, and I'm not going to turn my back. And so I stayed true to who I was, and next thing you know, I started rising up, working with Ray J, made great music with him, and then went off to Pauley Perrette from NCIS. Took her number one. CBS was bugging out because she never sang, and so NCIS is like, what the heck? So that really sparked everything, and then it just started making its way with me from the Navy and the Secretary of the Navy's office to the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, then the Pentagon. Then I get a call from the Bush family to perform on the commissioning of George W.H. Bush with the family. They were doing the Barbara Bush Library on there with her daughter, Dora Bush. And that was it. There's all authors and me, right? So no performers and all authors. And it was just so funny because Miss Bush gets up and she goes, and it's like 8,000 troops in the hangar, and she gets up and it's the Bushes, and we've been up in the Admiral's quarters eating with the Bush. My manager Sam's like, dude, you really got me up here with the president's family and stuff. I'm like, yeah, dude, like it's crazy. So we go down, and she goes, this is something different than us at the Bush family has done. We're getting ready to introduce a hip hop guy to come perform at a Bush event, and it was just, I came out and performed, and then Lone Star performed. Richie O'Donnell from Lone Star And then that just kept going. And
that's not the only president you've performed
President
for.
Obama,
Clinton, Obama,
Bush, Clinton,
right?
Obama. Last one I got it, happened. Then I played the keys. President Biden, he had a Christmas thing, and it was the camo Christmas with the military choir. And so it was, it's just been all these things, and I just kept moving it and having more number ones. And then, started to host things with Snoop. Big shout out to him, man, him and his family, man. It was just, I was able to have my parents meet him, because it was like I was always around, but my parents never got to meet him until about 5-6 years ago. And he came, and, he was just always encouraging, like, you never asked nothing. And then went on and established a relationship and worked with Flo Rida, and he's part of my co-management. So it's been like this honor to just kind of be this brand in the military, and, being this Goodwill Global Ambassador. And the thing was
when and how did you become the
Global
Ambassador?
So what happened is they made me the Friends of the Military program, the Navy did. And then kind of during the administration of General Dempsey, our chairman General Dempsey, working with Renee Bardolph and Rick Eckert, who was the Secretary of Defense Public Affairs, and then he was the chairman, Joint Public Affairs Outreach. That's who wrote a letter. They kind of wrote this service letter of continue to serve, kind of what I represent. They never, you would never get somebody at the Pentagon to write a letter. And it was like they described as like, here's this Goodwill, Global Ambassador and advocate of entertainment. And it just started working its way through. And, I became the first to film a video on the USS Midway that was approved.
What year was that?
I did that in 2011.
Okay.
And then I took boot camp 2016, took cameras into Navy boot camp and filmed in there. They never allowed that. It was approved for that. And then 2020, I shot the song that I'm putting out now called We Are One, and added last year Chapel Heart, where during President Trump's administration, all of the leadership of the DOD, the Homeland Security, VA, the NFL, we've had first responders. Everyone was in this video. They opened up, the Blue Angels were in the video. We did the Naval Museum. It was just an honor to shoot something like that, because to show what our military and veteran community and first responders is now in unifying. So it's like those were three big things. And so
that was huge to get all of those people coordinated and all those approvals and everything together so that you guys could do that, because that was at the beginning of COVID.
It was May, June, July. It was like a 3-month period under August, and coordinated that. I still had a contract. It was like public affairs of the Army, public affairs of the Navy. You had to get that. Then the OSD, Secretary of Public Affairs, had to sign off. Then the Homeland Security had to sign off, Secretary. Then the Coast Guard Public Affairs had to sign off. Then the VA, and then the NFL and the Bucks had to sign off, because the bubble was going on. It was like 10 different pieces of paperwork for all of that, to get all of that. And all of the public affairs was coordinated on that. And so it was so funny, because Jay Michaels in the song, and he's like, he comes from Broken Bow Records with Jason Aldean. He was on there. So I have him on the song. And so he's in the scene where his scene was in Florida. So he shot with us down in where I was at, Pensacola. And so they took us to the Gulf, and we shot on a cutter. And he's so funny. He's with his wife and his daughter and his security. He's like, are you freaking kidding me? You got me in the middle of the Gulf. Nobody's filming nothing. And he's like, B. Taylor's got me in the middle of the Gulf. Like, how are we on this cutter? Like, who does? We're in the middle of the Gulf on a cutter shooting during a pandemic shutdown.
And no one else is doing anything.
Top Guns got shut down. He's like, what's going on? He's like, man, somebody higher up really likes you. I said, yeah. So it was good. And now it's just, coming together, and, meeting Steve some years ago, which led me to meet you guys, how you guys been so supportive and helped me on this journey to where I'm at now, been part of the inauguration. I've always been a part of the different inaugurations, with the military, and I got to go to Commander-in-Chief's Ball and the Liberty Ball. But it was just, when I got asked to host, this was a thing with this host committee from, through the relationships, which you guys made through TK, and getting asked from that Trump's advisory team to do the host committee. And what was so good in there is I got first time to just talk to cabinet members instead of it just being like a Secretary of Defense or a Joint Chiefs or a General. It was other cabinet members, Secretary of Treasury Bassett, and Dr. Oz was there. I saw him for the second time, and he was like talking about Motown, and it was just like seeing others. And then I got to talk to Undersecretary General Tada, who was the Undersecretary for a long time, and he was just like, man, to know all those names that you have of chairmans and Joint Chiefs. He's like, how I missed you coming to the Pentagon. He's like, there's no way. And he said, you know what? We're going to work with you. And so it's just been a great thing. And so now we just got some great things going on with them and working to help with recruitment and really push We Are One. So.
Speaking of that, tell us about when you started One Life. Your nonprofit and all the things, because you do a million things.
Yes.
Talk about all the things that you do and you're involved with that.
Yeah. So with One Life, I created that in 2020. It's we got about 20 different programs, about 15, 16 alternative therapy and wellness programs, and then 5 to 6 resource programs. So I wanted to make these high-end programs from my experiences of being in sports and entertainment. I wanted to give military vets and first responders and their dependents high programs because, a lot of times we get donated furniture, but the furniture is old, the TV's 20 years, or you got membership to YMCA. We got all these different things that help, but it's just regular. So for me, I want them to feel like I feel like if they were coming to entertainment and had money. So, I was able to partner TB12, example, from TBRX with Tom Brady's Fitness, which is very expensive just for everybody, and veterans and military can't afford that. So we had people going through that program, EOS, Fitness, partnership, free memberships, Guitar Center, service, animal service dog. My COO, Kim Carter, she got us into fertility. She's a nurse practitioner with fertility. And so we did fertility program and just some yoga program. We just got so many different, and then I have the Heroes Experience where I take them VIP to Super Bowls and NFL games, and they get to meet players and they're on the field and they take pictures with the Lombardi Trophy. So it's been a really a cool journey. Doing all of that. So that's what we did with One Life. And this year, finally, we're going to upkeep and do our what is it called? Am I good?
Broadcast failed internet.
We keep going. It's too late. We got the other camera.
Oh,
you got a lot of editing to do because you just stopped it.
Yeah, but at least the YouTube is going.
Yeah. So no, it was just going to be able to do this concert, guys, that we're working with Steve. So I wanted to do something instead of a gala this year. And so September 19, 20, we got the dates from the arena from New Orleans because of Steve. He's always, if Steph, they're always helping, and they're about helping people and vets. And so we went over and met Ian over there, got the dates. And so I wanted to do something fun and for the help for recruitment and retention and highlight military and veterans. Because a lot of times these concerts, I've been at them, Hollywood, they'll do these concerts and it's like this minute time. Thank you, vets. Thanks, troops. USO. It's real quick, but gets Hollywood and gets about our theme is going to be camo theme. It's going to be honoring military and veteran troops. I'm making the artists being camo. Everybody's going to be talking military veterans and first responders.
And the red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue and camo theme. That's what it's going to be. And so,
and you want this like a couple of days. You want it like a festival, like a music festival.
Yeah, so we're going to have two different sets of artists, B. Taylor and Friends. And then my fundraiser, I'm gonna take part in some of the proceeds percentage and donate to you guys, vets in politics. We have MOA, Military Officers Association's General BK, who's bringing all of it. He's already talked and spoke with all of the heads of recruitment for each branch, and they're all on board. He's gonna bring the armed forces and VA committees and handle Washington. And then we got TK, who brought in Capel, who's gonna film it. Big time. Capel's worked with Snoop and big time production guy. He wants to be a part and he signed on to film it. So it's going to be really good. Everybody's starting to pull in now. And I feel like it's the best place to do that here and to really theme this to help with recruitment and make it about military and vets, and working with you guys to bring the city leadership involved in the Senate, because everyone should be a part. And like Steve, I always talk to Steve about this, is like when there's problems and there's trouble, we call on the military, we call on first responders. We, like you saw the Grammys, like I'm gonna push Grammys to you guys up there, I'm pushing on you guys' neck. The pedal is not up, because my thing is, you guys honored, there was fires. Just like when we did the Super Bowl, when the pandemic, it was 8,000 tickets for first responders that were vaccinated. But that was because the stadium, nobody could go in the stadium. So they gave 8,000 tickets away for the Super Bowl. Now we're back to normal. Mm-hmm. The NFL is not giving 8,000 tickets to first responders and vets. So now you see the Grammys this past Sunday, everybody honored the first responders, right? They did all the paramedics and the firefighters. Promise you next year, it won't be one thing with that many, because what happens is when we have problems, we call on vets. Mm-hmm. We call, like the fires, the National Guard, people putting themselves in line, firefighters. It's for a now thing. We want to do it because it's the right thing to do. Then when it gets peace and we get the military and the veterans and the paramedics and the first responders get everything at bay, then Americans get amnesia and it goes right back to normal. So mm-hmm. I'm challenging the Grammys. I'm challenging them with this We Are One, that we're going to push this and we're going to make this part of culture and make it part to honor veterans. Do a better job at the NFL. These flyovers stink. They don't do nothing. They don't do anything for recruitment. You're going to be in a dome and they're going to do a flyover. Why would you do a flyover in a dome?
Yeah, you can't see it.
You can't see it. You see it on the board. It's not helping the kids to recruit. So it's like they got to change some of these things up and stop just, whenever there's a problem going on, like I was seeing it with Israel, everyone's on the news. When is Biden sending the troops? When are the troops going in? Why don't you strap up and go in? Seriously, why don't you put on some boots and go get dropped off in Hamas and go? Right. You're never going to do that. But you first to call us. The fire is going on. Everyone's like, where's the firefighters at? Where they at? But then everything comes. They risk lives. Firefighters pass. Military risk their life. We back to normal. Everybody get amnesia. So for me being recruitment, I'm going to use people like Steve do. If you guys don't know Steve or Steph, they're going to push on your neck until they get it out of you. And sometimes you have to do that with people when you're standing for right. You have to keep pushing. And everybody in this country should be supporting our heroes. I don't care if that's not a red side, it's not a blue, it's not an independent liberty.
It's the America side.
It's America side. When it comes to military veterans first, these people have families like you guys do. They have loved ones. They got girlfriends and wives. They put their stuff on the line. There's people putting their stuff on the line, seeing stuff you don't ever want to see in your life. And we need to teach these younger people, because they don't even know why they live in here. They just feel like I'm famous on Instagram or I got this. No, dude, you're here because there's Jane Doe and John Doe stand and watch where you'll never go.
So you want to have this 2-day concert festival. You're going to bring in a whole bunch of artists, and you want to draw the younger crowd and the younger group, because each branch of the military, they're going to have tables set up. Is that what you're going to have?
So they're going to have it
so they can go visit with
so that can
everybody.
Be visit and interactive and make it. And like I said, the camo theme. So you can come in pink camo, blue camo, red camo. We just come in making it where it's the camo theme and everybody can be a part and kind of highlight the military. I'm not here. We got enough of highlighting on the commercials of the military, the old guy sitting in a wheelchair doing a salute and looking, broken. That's not working for a generation of people. That's not working. So we're going to highlight the positive of the military. It needs to be taught that in the military, you can get your education. You can play sports. You can box. You can be a cook. You can be an accountant. You can be a doctor. You can be a lawyer. You can have 3 different things going on. You can be a rate. Like in the military, Steve knows, you can be an infantryman. You can be like an engineer. And then you can go and be a pilot. You can go, your opportunities is what you make of it. And so this myth that you're going to sign up and go to work. Now, granted, like you said, it's sacrifice. and it's not peaches and cream, but to go to war and be in infantry, that's a special unit that you have to do. You have all these jobs that you can do and get the best training and put you in position for opportunities. And that's one thing Snoop and everyone told me. It wasn't the music. It was like, man, B. Taylor was military. Like his mom said, I helped his service. That's what the Motown legend said. That's what, I'm working with the Mandela card, the co-founder of the Nelson Mandela signature card.
Hold on a sec. We're going to get to that next. But your goal here is to recruit, because the military has really been low on recruitment.
Very low.
For how many years?
It's been going for a few years now, but this was the lowest that it's ever been since 2001. And to have an all-voluntary force, that you got to keep recruiting
you
them, because
change that.
We have to, because it's a national security issue. Meaning, if we don't hit numbers, there's draft. There's no other way. Don't hit the numbers. Young people are getting drafted. There's no way around it. So, I want to hit that to expose the military of what you're going to become. I came from an E2 to do all of these things, and it was the military that provided that.
And you want to do this annually. Every year you want to have this.
Every year.
And build
it and keep doing it. I've been doing it, and now it's really like I was talking to the DOD. I was letting them know, like, hey, man, we got to use it's good to they film and do these movies. But the thing, I was talking to, celeb friends of mine, is like, yeah, they can bring us and we film a movie, but we ain't never been in the military. It's a movie. And the younger generation it's authentic. They can see that. It's not affecting them. If they see a star playing a Navy SEAL or a star playing a pilot, it's not working, because if it did, recruitment would have been low. So that's not working. You got to take your own, like people like myself or people like that come in that be successful and highlight the successes of those who wore the boots and continue to highlight them. That's what's going to be the authenticity of everything, and then the celebrities can add on to that, doing the movies and coming to highlight. But don't go get, because somebody's so famous and they come down and they don't know, and it's not relatable. You got to partner that person with another person who's been successful in their realm, and be able to say, okay, if I'm getting Snoop coming with me, Snoop, tell them I met you in the military and what it did for me, changed it. And then now the kids are listening up to Snoop, listening to you as well, because they're like, wow, you can answer. And that's what I felt made me so unique for this, is because I can hit education, college, football, sports, entertainment, and now the car, automobile.
Nonprofit,
nonprofit.
Now the car. Excuse me, that is so unique. Nobody else has done this. This is the very first, and you have brought this. So tell everybody about that, because it's absolutely incredible.
This is the Mandela Car, working on this for the last 20 months. I put the executive team together. I got, Daleka Mandela reached out to me a couple years ago and said she wanted to bring her grandfather's second part of his legacy to an electric vehicle with his signature. Next thing you know, last year in July, I get his signature, his in cursive, Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela, and his print. And it's going to be the first signature to bear on a car like this. And so we signed a deal in December with Extreme Automobile out of Italy. That is part of the group is the Panini group, which is Maserati, Ferrari, and all of those things. And the capital of luxury cars, Italy. So they have a prototype already that we're going to use to make cosmetic changes that they're working on to make it in the colors and everything. And it's highest horsepower luxury car. But the biggest thing is part of the proceeds are going to go toward the global initiative on STEM, like Mr. Mandela would want it to go. So using his name as a luxury brand, but those proceeds going to STEM and education for, youth and women and stuff, to touch everyone to, learn STEM. Because I believe education's important. Even the military, you're always, your son will tell you, you're always going to school, you're always going to learn. And they don't talk about that in the military. You're always doing training, you're always learning. The military is big on advancement and learning. And it's like, I tell everyone out there, you make of it what you can. I went in there with my head to the ground, listened to my dad and said, man, shoot, man, I'm never going to get a chance in my life to be with a Secretary of the Navy. The odds of me going as a civilian to meet the Secretary of the Navy or meeting the Chairman of the Joint Chiefs is 1 out of 1,000,000. Like the odds and just this. So I took advantage and they liked it and I listened and I did what they said and they moved me here. Then they moved there, and so that's the thing that I want to encourage, from a recruitment standpoint is what made me unique, just like Miss Mandela said, the military in my service. Mm-hmm. Snoop, the military in my service. What got Flow Riders' attention? The military in the everyone's attention was because that military in service made me so unique. So, so.
And when do you plan on, when is that car going to be
available?
They
started, so they getting the thing, they're doing it. So the first prototype of this will be the end of the year. And then next year, 2026, first quarter, I'm working to have the first one to be available first quarter. So I'm going to be excited for that one.
That's
and then I'll probably go chill somewhere in an island after that, because man.
So tell us about, I know you touched on it just a little bit about the inauguration. Can you tell us about the ball and some of the places that you went?
Yeah,
I know
so
you met a ton of people.
Yeah, the ball was good. Kid Rock was at the Commander-in-Chief ball. John Voight, Mr. Voight was there. Hannity was doing the interviews at the thing. And then the Liberty Ball, it was crazy. When my board member, she was falling down the steps. Amber Rose was falling down the steps.
Oh my God.
And so I took a couple of my board members went and they caught her down the steps and took a picture. He's like, yo, I just caught Amber Rose on the steps. And it was good, man. It was a good time. And I really, I enjoyed it. And my biggest thing is like, I don't get into politics because that's not what I'm an expert in. I'm not one of those people who try to be an expert in everything. I just try to focus on like our issues with our heroes, what I'm good at, and issues with youth and minorities to steer them in the right way and understand that there's opportunities in this country. And if you don't have the money, even if you do have money for college and you don't know what direction you want to go or you don't have the money, come into the military. I'm telling you, man, it's to be the best decision you make of your life, because you're gonna go away and you're gonna come back to people who didn't go anywhere, and you're gonna be right up here. You're gonna see how the level that you done leveled up and see the world, and you just opens up so many opportunities. So, that's what I focus on with any administration that I've been, this Goodwill Global, and give me the tools so that I can help put people in our military that can take what I've done and grow off of that. Like, you know what I'm saying? So if I can touch recruits and kids that can say, dang, B did all of this, we want to go down this rate, then I'm doing my job. It's not for me to do all this and the DOD and the military support me and me sit in a corner somewhere. It's like, no, utilize these tools so that we can get the brighter, inspire the next generation, knowing that, and so that's what I'm big on. So I think that's what I took, a lot of the inauguration, and I'm just excited, and I can't wait till we do this concert and the other things.
Oh, that's going to be so cool fun. I can't wait for that.
It's going to be good. We got to get Steve. Hey, man, we got to get Steve on that stage, though. We're going to get you on that stage to sing with me.
Yeah. He's going to have to practice.
He's sing with me. Steve will sing with me, man. I get Steve, but
well, I think it's important that you, and what you've done, you're bridging that gap between entertainment and sports and the politics and the politicians, because, military, I mean, that crosses all bounds and all borders. And to bring these people in, it's really important that everybody works together.
Yeah, everyone works together.
And everybody does their part and their piece. And we can definitely recruit, highlight the military, and use the entertainment
to bring the bodies up.
Industry. Yeah, because people are, like you said, those balls and dinners and galas and all that stuff, that gets boring. But having this concert and bringing in the young folks and with the people that you have talked about bringing into this thing, oh my goodness.
It's going to be good stuff.
Oh, it's going to be so good.
And that's what I always say too, though, like I always talk, and I want to say this, the support you and Steve have supported our organization, man, it means a lot. You know, Kim here, who's in studio here, a COO. You know, we had different groups, and I tell everybody when you're working with a nonprofit, and the thing I had to learn is you have people around you that are not there for the right reasons, you know, and you know, I had to understand that because I'm in entertainment, and a lot of times in the levels, even going to the Pentagon and DoD, a lot of these people would not be in the rooms with certain Snoops or Flo or entertain at all. I'm talking about in these rooms to talk. They would never be at the Pentagon with the chairman or the secretary of VA. And so what I had to learn that because we did, you know, one thing you guys have supported, we had people try to tear things up with the One Life because they weren't me or thinking they're me. Like, that's one thing I never thought. When I came in with the Legends and Snoop, I was quiet. I never tried to think I was Snoop Dogg or I was, you know, bigger than this person. I knew my time would come. And a lot of times these people come in like, oh, I could do this and I could do that and try to tear things up. They came at Kim and the staff to, you know, do things that are negative. And I tell people out there, when you're doing something great, don't worry about, as long as you got good people are going to talk. You know, but my dad said, let people talk, but let the talk don't be true. Just they can talk all they want, but the talk doesn't be true. And so for everyone out here for me, for what One Life has done, we've always done great work, you know, at the highest level. Not everybody, people try to get in nonprofits to get rich. It's not a get rich scheme in nonprofits. It's what it's called. It's not for profit. It's to help. And you really have to have the heart to help, or don't join a nonprofit just to put it on your little resume or put it on your LinkedIn profile that you helped a nonprofit. Nonprofit is what it is, and you got to be willing to work because you're there to help people in nonprofit. If you don't have that in your heart, don't join anybody's nonprofit because you're not going to be there. You're going to be there for the wrong reason. And if it's going to work, you're going to go out and talk and do all this stuff. Stay in your profit lane because nonprofit is there to help. And I'm glad for One Life I built the right group, that you have the right people with this concert to do these things, to be in the nonprofit space, because it's more than just standing there and get hookups and rolling around with artists and celebrities and acting like you're bigger than what you are. So, you know, I really appreciate you, you know, and Steve, and you done brought some great people, and everybody's just excited. It's like a force going. And I got to say this too, because the Moms of America, got to say,
oh,
the
yeah,
moms
Trump
today,
was just talking about them.
They got the bill signed and pushed for girls, which I have daughters, so I'm for this. And you can make me if you want to. Like, guys should be going to your guys' bathroom and girls should be going to the girls' bathroom. You can dress and be whatever you want, but you should go separate things. It shouldn't be. So they got that signed, and Moms America is cool because it helps with the kids learning and the different things they're doing. And so big shout out to her name, Kimberly Fletcher. And so they're going to be pushing, we partner with them to push We Are One with the Moms for America. And I saw that today and stuff. And so I'm just about positivity, Steph and Steve, just positivity. And if your energy's off, just get away from us, you know, and everything. That's just how I am right now and stuff. And I just appreciate the people that support One Life and see the vision and don't try to hold me back and try to, you know, push it forward, you know, and that's what we're about. You know, we're just making some great strides. So be looking for that concert because we're going to be rocking it in 6.5 months.
And again, what are the dates that you?
September 19th and 20th.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
We're looking forward to that.
Yeah, and
we're going to join forces. We're going to help you and
it's going to be so good.
Promote it.
It's going to be so good. I cannot wait. And we're going to see all the people come out like crickets too. All the ants. Yeah, right. You know how you leave on the spot? Ants and crickets start coming
You'd be
out.
like, what's your name?
What's your name? Where was you?
Who you?
Steve. What's up, Steve? Steve's like, who is this? You know?
Where'd you come from?
Where'd you come from? Man, no, Steve. What had happened was I got busy. We just had a misunderstanding. But my girl really likes Snoop Dogg. Can we get some tickets to go see Dogg? All the sober stories, they come out the woodworks, you know. So you know how it is. So I'm ready for it.
This is probably one of my most quietest shows.
Yeah, what are you so quiet for, Steve?
I'm annoyed that the live is not working. So,
no.
And so I gotta
But thanks, man.
I got a lot.
I don't even know when that went off, but
Yeah, I
it's
think-
okay. We've got the whole thing
It was
recorded.
good,
We're going to put that out. It was great. And
though.
is there, I think we touched on all the subjects, the main ones,
Yeah.
because there's so much that you're involved in, so much that you're doing, and it's hard to wrap everything into, you're just a force of nature and you
No.
just so,
No, that's
you
what
know,
Al
involved.
said. Al was like, man, we got to do this book and documentary. Al told me the other, he's like, there's no way. He's like, until I started seeing your stuff, he's like, there's no, Al was so funny. He said, I felt like I was back at Alabama in a history course. Because he was like, I was like, yeah, man, I don't even, my dad, I was like, Dad, how do I do all that? I just said, God, man. There's no way. If you told me I was going to go back and try to do this again, Steph, I'll be like, hell no.
Just when you came here and just the timing of all those things and then meeting, the music people and,
crazy.
All of that is not, to me, there's no coincidence. To me, it's divine
all
intervention.
God. I couldn't even replay. That's what my dad, I couldn't replay that over to meeting the Secretary of Navy, meeting the CNO, meeting Snoop.
And it was the next
like
step, the next step, the
right.
next step.
That's
And
how
it was just like laid right in front of you as you walked through this path of all these things.
All these people.
And it's you cannot plan that.
No.
It just happened.
It did. And I gotta tell you this is my last story. So, Fred Flav's gonna be a part. If you don't know Flav, big shout out to Flavor Flav, man. That's my big brother, man. But I gotta tell you this. So I had 8 guys with me in the military in uniform. We're in New York. I was friends with Mr. Gooding. Cuba Gooding, senior in the Main Green. He invited me to Manhattan Theater as a guest. So we coming down, and the Manhattan Theater is across from Mass Square. It's so busy. It's like so many people. So we're coming, uniform. They wouldn't let us. We come up to them like, can we get in? I'm guesting. And they were like, call. I was trying to call. Mr. Gooding wasn't answering, so they wouldn't let us in. I don't know how Flav saw this, but Flav heard. And he came up to he was like, are you kidding me? He was like, you see these soldiers in uniform? What the heck? I need everybody to get out the way. Y'all hungry? I said, yeah, Flav, we hungry. All right, come on. He made them fix all this food and bring it to us and got us in free. And he gave me his number. He said, anything you need, give him that. And so that was like 14 years ago. And I've been friends with Flav this whole time, or 15 years ago. Like, I've been friends with him, man. And he did that, but that's what people don't talk about. Like, he came out of nowhere on the streets of New York. He didn't know us, and and he opened them. They fed us, and he got us in. We wouldn't have got in, and he got in. He said, "Feed them." They was bringing us so much food. We was like, "Stop!" Like, it's only 8 of us. They was bringing so much food, and that's just the type of things where, like, Snoop, Flav, like them type of, when y'all see them on TV, they're like that. They're genuine guys like that. So.
Well, we're going to have Mark zoom in on you and let you have the last word. So if you want to give a point of contact, an email, a website, how people can reach you, who to reach out to, if they want to help and donate, all of those things, you can go ahead and tell everybody.
Hey, what's up, everybody? So you're looking to be a part of what we do in the movement, you can always go to @1Life organization for Instagram, Facebook, social media. You can reach out at www.1lifeorganization.org. You can reach out there, get in touch with my CO, Kim Carter, or our programs director, Celeste. Just send the information, they'll get in touch with you. And if you follow music, I'm at B Taylor Ambassador for Instagram and Facebook, B Taylor Ambassador. And just know we out to all the troops and the vets, first responders and their families, just know I'm out here representing you. If anybody knows me, I'm passionate about this. It's not fake. I always recognize our heroes from day one. It's not a facade. This is who I am. And come support vets in politics, man. These are the people, you in Nevada, come to Veterans in Politics, man. And if I'm telling you right now, they know everybody. I'm gonna say it one more time. Steve and Steph knows everybody. So if you make your way to Nevada, come talk to them so you'll get with the right people and it'll cut you a lot of time. So.
Well, Big Taylor, thank you so much for coming on the show. Really appreciate it.
Thanks.
Ms. Phillips, thank you so much. Folks, that was B. Taylor, Nevada veteran, Navy veteran, hip hop producer, global ambassador. And we hope that you learned a lot from this program. That's what we try to do, educate the people. And I'm sorry about the live feed, but let's see if we could get this going tonight. See if we can get up tonight and put it on the internet. This is Steve Sands and Stephanie Phillips with Veterans in Politics. Until next time.